If you're selling a house in Northern Virginia and thinking, what would be my closing cost as a seller? I'm going to show you an online tool that I use for my clients. It's a free tool provided by a title company called New World Title and Escrow. I recommend this to my clients because they are an independent title company, which means they're not affiliated with any brokerages. So no matter who your realtor is, no matter who you're working with, or even if you're selling a house as a homeowner, they charge the same money. So that's why I like to recommend this to my clients. And I've had good experiences with them. And also, they have a free tool that you can use as a home seller to calculate your closing costs. So if you go to their website, newworldtitle.com, I'll include their website into my show notes. At the top, you'll see Seller Net Sheet. And if you don't see these here, just go all the way down to their footer. And under the quick links, the Seller Net Sheet is here as well, at the very bottom. So if you go here, you have to create an account with them, but they're not going to chase after you trying to get your house sold. Okay? It's not that kind of a website. Okay, I'm going to use one of my clients as an example. By the way, if you want to know more details about this example that I'm going to go through, I have another video explaining this same example with more details. Okay, I'm going to call them Bob and Mary. You can call whatever, you can call this whatever you want. At the end of this, you can print this as a PDF or you can email it to yourself, so naming it is kind of useful. Property location, here you don't have to put your address. You don't have to put your full address. You can just put the city or county you live in. In this case, I'm going to say Fairfax County, right here. They have locations in Northern Virginia and DC and Maryland. So if you are selling a house in Northern Virginia or DC or Maryland, you can use this tool. For this example, I'm going to put $1.2 million as the sales price. And I have to provide a date. You just have to play around. You can do this multiple times. I'm going to estimate my closing date is April 15th. And the reason why I have to provide a date is because, well, two reasons. One is because my clients need to know if they close on April 15th, what is the loan payoff? They have a 30-year mortgage. So if they're paying it off on April 15th, they have to pay a certain amount. If they're paying it off on a different day, the amount will change. And the second reason is we need to use this date to calculate property tax. So down here, additional transaction details, you don't need to provide anything there. Loan payoff, in this case, we have $270,000 to pay off. They don't have a second payoff. If you have any liens on the house, you can put that here. Real estate compensation, I'm going to put mine as a 0 because I'm not allowed to publicly say how much I charge. Okay, but on the buyer's side, I'm just going to put $50,000. I have to change this percentage into a dollar amount. Leave this as 0. I'll just put 50,000 there so you can see in the report where this shows up. Okay, and seller concession. This is part of marketing, right? Really depends. Seller's concession depends on what is your asking price relative to how your house is showing. In Bob and Mary's case, their house is showing wonderfully. It's really nice, and their asking price is very competitive, if not lower than what it should be. So I have no doubt that they don't need to pay anything to the buyer. So I'm going to recommend them to pay 0. And it's all part of negotiation, and it's all part of marketing. So you decide what you want to put there. Okay. And also, real quick, real estate compensation. This is all negotiable. In fact, I recommend you to interview multiple realtors and negotiate their compensation. And you can also negotiate the buyer's agent compensation. Maybe you don't even need to pay the buyer's agent compensation. It's all part of negotiation. Homeowners Association due, they don't have HOA, but if you do, you can put your HOA fee here. It can be monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, or annually. Enter the amount, and you can say whether you paid the last due or not, and it'll calculate how much either your HOA owes to you, depending on the closing date, or how much you would have to pay if you didn't pay your last HOA. And if you have HOA, you probably have to pay some resale certificate to your HOA to get the documentation. If there's a transfer fee, you want to put that there. For property taxes, this is a little bit tricky, well, a little bit funny, because you actually end up paying property taxes twice. That is, if you have mortgage, and if your mortgage have an escrow account where you pay your property tax monthly, and then your mortgage company pays in Fairfax County twice a year. But you'll end up paying this property tax twice because on the closing day, you have to credit the buyer from the last time your mortgage company paid the taxes until the closing day. In this example, Bob and Mary will have to pay from January 1st until April 15th. They have to credit the buyer that tax payment so they can continue to pay their taxes, so their mortgage, and then end up paying on June 15th. About a month after closing, your mortgage company will reimburse you this money. So how do you calculate it? How do you calculate it? Well, this is going to calculate it for you based on your last year's, for the entire year's tax. So last year, Bob and Mary paid $9,270, okay? And for the percentage, don't worry about that. What this is trying to do is it's assuming that your sales price is the same as your the county assessed value. In Northern Virginia, in most cases, that's not true. In most cases, the sales price is more than the county assessed value. In this case, it's $300,000 more. Sometimes it's 50 grand more. Sometimes it's 100 grand more. It all depends. Fairfax County charges 1.03% tax per year based on their assessed value. And Bob and Mary's house was assessed $900,000. So if you actually put in $900,000 here, 900,000, and then put in 1.03, you get this. But obviously that's not the case in here because I want to sell the house for $1.2 million. And then this is 9,270. Okay, so you just ignore this percentage. Other seller expenses and credit. They changed their carpet upstairs. I'm just going to say carpet, and $3,500 is what they spent. And if you click calculate right here, you basically get a report. You can edit it. You can email it to yourself or to your spouse. You can download it as a PDF. Here it is, property location and seller's net. So this is what Bob and Mary will walk away with. About $870,000 will be wired to their bank on the same day of closing if they have an early morning closing, or they might get it wired the next day, the next business day. So here's the rundown. Title and settlement charges. Basically $400 plus $250 plus $100 is what they have to pay to the title company. And of course, as a seller, you don't have a choice to choose the settlement company. Buyers choose them. So you don't know exactly how much you'll pay. This is just what New World Title and Escrow charges. Once the buyer chooses the settlement company, you'll know then exactly how much you'll be paying. It may be $100 or $200 more or less. Here's a big chunk of money you have to pay. Just like when you go to a grocery store, when you buy something, you pay tax. For selling a house, it's a transaction out in the market, so you pay Northern Virginia, some taxes. This is 0.3% of the sales price. So when we put the house on the market, of course, I'm going to do more analysis to see if we need to change the price a bit. And then, of course, when we receive the contract, and depending on how we end up negotiating, the $1.2 million may be a little bit different. And then the closing date may be a little bit different. So if the sales price is a little bit different, then this would go up or down. The loan payoff is right here, $270,000. And then the real estate compensation is right here. And property taxes. Here's the property tax you have to pay twice, just temporarily, maybe about a month, right here. The software already calculated it for you. And here's the carpet expense, replacing the carpet. I recommend my clients to actually put pretty much everything that they spent in order to get the house ready to sell. This is especially useful if you in a situation where you have to pay capital gains tax. Then this would be very useful. If you've done some work, you can type in the kind of work you have done, how much money you paid. This is, from the seller's point of view, it is part of closing cost. Technically it's not, but it is money that you spend to get the house ready to sell the house. For Bob and Mary, I did rough estimate on how much capital gains tax they would pay. They purchased their house for $500,000, selling it for $1.2 million. So they're gaining $700,000. But they're going to end up paying about $9,000 capital gains tax. And you can watch that video to see how I calculated that. If you found this video useful, I recommend bookmarking this video so that you can reference it when it's time for you to sell your house. And good luck with sales of your house. Thank you for watching. I'm Achma, realtor in Sterling, Virginia. Bye.